They didn't bury him with a funeral. They didn't mark his grave with a flag. They erased him. Every file, every record, every photograph, gone. As if John Mercer never existed. As if he never bled for this country. As if he never sat across from the most powerful man in the world and handed him the truth. But he did exist. And what he carried was so dangerous that the President of the United States decided a loyal man's life was a reasonable price to pay for silence. John Mercer wasn't some rogue agent. He wasn't a whistleblower with an agenda. He was a decorated war veteran, 3 tours, 2 commendations, 1 Purple Heart. The kind of soldier other soldiers looked up to. The kind of man presidents called at 2 a.m. when the situation was too sensitive for anyone else. When President Caldwell personally recruited him into the White House inner circle, John didn't hesitate. This was the moment he'd spent his entire career preparing for. Serving his country not on a battlefield this time, but at the highest level. The room where decisions are made. What nobody knew what John had spent 18 months quietly building was a file. Classified intelligence so explosive it didn't just implicate one administration. It exposed a decades-long shadow operation buried deep inside the machinery of the American government. Names, dates, wire transfers, orders signed in rooms that officially don't exist. He handed it over willingly, because he trusted the president. 3 days later, John Mercer ceased to exist. No obituary, no funeral, no missing persons report. His military service record scrubbed clean from federal databases. His apartment cleared out overnight. His neighbors told investigators they'd never seen anyone live there. The government didn't just kill him, they deleted him. But here's what they didn't account for. John Mercer knew they were coming. Every investigator who touched John's case hit the same wall. Files classified, witnesses gone, leads dead ends. The official story was simple. John Mercer was a mid-level White House consultant who resigned quietly and moved abroad. Nothing to see, nothing to investigate. Case closed before it was ever opened. But the official story had one problem. John had anticipated all of it. Before he walked into the White House that final time, before he handed over the file, before he shook Caldwell's hand, before he said goodnight to a world that was about to pretend he never existed, John did one thing. He recorded everything. Every conversation. Every order. Every name spoken in rooms where phones were supposed to be off. He recorded it on a device so simple, so analog, that no digital sweep would ever catch it. And then he hid it. Not in a Swiss bank vault. Not on an encrypted server. Not with a lawyer or a journalist or a trusted ally. He hid it in a weathered notebook tucked behind a loose baseboard in a small-town diner in rural Tennessee. A diner he'd visited every single year on the same day. The same booth. The same order. Black coffee and eggs. Now here's where the story changes. The assassination order didn't come from foreign operatives. It didn't come from a shadow faction or a rogue intelligence cell. It came from inside the Oval Office. President Caldwell, the man John called a friend. The man John trusted with classified intelligence that could reshape the country. That man signed off on John's death over a Sunday morning briefing. Like it was a line item. Like it was routine. Let that land for a second. The President of the United States ordered the death of a decorated war veteran because that veteran trusted him with the truth. The notebook was found, not by federal investigators, not by a journalist working a tip, not by anyone with a clearance or a badge or a mandate. It was found by a waitress, quiet, sharp-eyed, 6 years working that same diner in rural Tennessee. She'd noticed the loose baseboard before, always meant to report it to management, and never did. When she pulled it free one Tuesday afternoon, the notebook fell out. And the moment she opened it, everything changed. Who was this woman? Why did John choose that diner year after year? And why for her entire adult life had someone always been watching her? Her name is Sarah. She grew up in that small Tennessee town, ordinary, quiet, unremarkable by every outward measure. Her mother told her that her father died in combat. A hero's death, honorable and clean. She grew up proud of a man she never got to know. What her mother never told her, what nobody ever told her, was that federal agents had been monitoring Sarah's phone since she was 16 years old. Her college applications were flagged. 2 of her closest childhood friends were informants, placed deliberately in her life. The landlord of her first apartment reported her movements monthly to a government contact she never met. Sarah wasn't just being watched. Sarah was being managed. Sarah is John Mercer's daughter. The man the government erased, the soldier they deleted, had a daughter they spent 20 years quietly containing. Not because she knew anything, but because they were terrified of what she might find out. And when Sarah opened that notebook in the back of that Tennessee diner, she didn't just find evidence of a cover-up. She found her father's handwriting, his voice, his final message written directly to her. Because John always knew they'd come for him. He'd planned for it. And through every safe house, every late-night recording, every calculated move, he left a trail designed for exactly one person to follow. He left it for Sarah. The people who erased John Mercer spent 20 years watching his daughter, never once realizing they were watching the one person who could unravel everything they'd built. Now she has the notebook. Now she knows the names. Now she knows what her father died for. And now so do you. Here's what I need you to think about. If they could erase a decorated war veteran, a man with commendations, clearances, and direct access to the president, what does that say about how disposable the truth is to the people in power? If John Mercer's own government monitored his daughter for 20 years just to stay ahead of a secret, what other secrets are still being managed right now? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. And if you believe the stories they bury deserve to be told, you already know what to do. Subscribe, because next week, we go even deeper. And trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next.